I decided I need to take responsibility for my life. And the best way to do it is to see someone who suffers worse than you and help them. So I became like a youth pastor. I began to teach the children, preach for them, and find someone from the church that would buy a few pizzas and do a pizza party for them. And that's how my speaking started. I first spoke to youth and to small churches.
15.
At 15. At age 16, I was coming back from school and I had a call. It was my first phone that I received. You know, these old mobile phones?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, it was a lady from the church that she was so kind to me. And she said, I want to know what's happening with you. And I want to be able. What she was saying is, you're living in the ghetto. You are living alone. Like, I'm afraid that something could happen to you and you just disappear. So she got me a phone and she put some money in it so that I could call if something was to happen. And then I got a phone call after I was going back from school. I was on the bus and it was a lady from church, another lady. She says, can you do a funeral? I said, what do you mean do a funeral? Has someone died? She said, yes, there is this family that had never been in a church before. They've only been once, and it was when you spoke. And this was my first sermon. But they said that they don't want anyone else to bury their child but the young man that preached that night. So could you bury their child? Could you do the funeral? I wasn't even licensed as a speaker or a pastor at that time. And I said, I need to call like the head leader to ask him. So I called, he didn't pick up. Probably he was busy. Then I called the second pastor and he said, young man, I think you can do it. And if this family are going through such suffering, I think you should do it. He said, I'm going to come and support you. And so he said, I'm not speaking. You're speaking, but I'll come and support you. And I'll never forget this. It was raining, it was pouring rain. And there were like maybe 50, 60 people there at the funeral, maybe more. And it was dramatic because a little kid had died. It wasn't even like 3 years old. It was a very young kid, maybe like 2.5 or something. And so the little casket was there and I was supposed to speak and people were crying. It was so dramatic. And then the pastor, he was holding an umbrella over my head. And he just said, you can go now. So I opened the Bible and I started to speak. And it was incredible. I felt this wave of peace coming over the people as I spoke. They stopped crying and started listening to me. And that's when I realized that that's what I want to do. I want to bring life to people through my words at their darkest time.
Through a funeral.
Yeah.
Of a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah.
Is that where you believe the mission started?
I think that's when I realized the reality of what we're doing. Because before that, I wanted to preach. I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be on stage. But it was more of a self-realization journey of becoming someone, because you're no one. But when I spoke at this funeral and I saw the effect of my words, I thought, oh my God, that's an amazing responsibility. And with great responsibility comes great power. If you switch it around, right? They say with great power comes great responsibility. But if you switch it around, I think it's even more true that if you take responsibility, you will be empowered. I think that's why people are so powerless today. In many ways, they don't want to take responsibility for their life, for what's happening in their life. And if you're not taking responsibility, you're powerless. But if you're taking responsibility, you become powerful. So I started becoming powerful when I started taking responsibility.
I think you just titled this podcast, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Or with great responsibility comes great power. Were you aware of your gift to speak at 16? Was there an awareness it's a gift what you have.
Thank you.
Were you aware of that? Or did it just come so naturally?
No, it's like when you have a gift, you don't know.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
And you think that everybody has it. Like the people that can sing, that was born with the gift to sing, they don't know how hard it is for someone like me to just sing the note correctly. Not even to sing beautifully, but just to hit the note. And they don't know because they were given a gift. Now, when you realize the gift, when you unwrap it, it's a secret that you unwrap. Then you can also begin to develop it. You can work on it, right? But I started realizing that I have a gift probably around my teenage years when people were telling me, people are telling you, hey, you're doing really good. When you speak, it inspires me, or I felt a presence, or I felt an amazing energy. And I didn't know, but you start seeing the effects of it and you realize, okay, that's something that I have been given. So how am I now going to develop it and use it to a greater extent? So I started reading books. I started reading the Bible in English because I wanted to preach around the world. And I realized I speak a language that only 7 million people speak that language. So if I'm going to speak to the world, I might as well learn a language that is speaking to billions of people. So I started reading the Bible in English. I started preparing speeches in English. And I started dreaming of speaking one day to the world.
Driven young man, though, learning to speak English at 17.
Yeah.
Practicing sermons at 17. That's a driven young man if you look back.
Yes. I think that when you are going through such terrible things in life, personal development can become like a good addiction, which you know better than me because you have had very real addictions that you overcame, and now you have new addictions that are positive, like you are shredded. And you were telling me how easy it is, but I still don't believe it's that easy. But because I was saying hello and I gave you a hug when I came in, and I felt like I was hugging The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I was like, what are you doing? You said, oh, that's easy, it's nothing. But you have the six-pack and everything, and you have it full time. You're not doing the cycles like normal people, they do. They're in the best shape, then they're out of the best shape. You're just staying there. And I think that part of it is I found something that I could grab a hold of, and something that I could control. Because for 2 years of my life, I lived without running water and electricity. So I didn't have the agency or the financial capability to pay the bills. Because when my mom ran away, she couldn't pay the bills, and so they stopped our electricity, and we didn't have water. And I didn't have the money to pay the bills, so I was living in that house, and I was reading my Bible with a flashlight, but I was just trying to do my best with the cards I was dealt. And I think that's why you say it, because like I was driven, but we are either running to something or running from something. I think I was doing them both at the same time. I was running from something and running to something.
Maxim, I see this as a movie. It's something to think about. I really see this as a movie. I could see that young boy with a flashlight, with no running water, reading the Bible.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Thank you. I have a friend. He's a director, one of the best in Bulgaria. And he told me this, I think like 2 years ago. He said, I really want to make like a movie or at least a short film of your story. I said, listen, I'm 30 years old. I was 30 at that time. I said, I don't want to have a movie now. I would just want to, let's make sure I have a happy ending.
Let me work my mission. Then we'll do the movie.
Let me accomplish something, right? But, people think, you've already done so much. But it's all about, where you feel you need to go and what you feel you need to do. So it's like, I feel like I'm just starting.
Yeah, which is a blessing. And maybe you are when we look backwards
50
years from now together. Maybe you are. but it's been tremendous.